So hey guys, I'm back. I ain't eating nothing yet today, y'all. Just bear with me. Already breathing heavy. So if you're watching this video right now, you have read the title, and I'm gonna confirm right now, the title of the video is not a joke, nor is it clickbait. I would never joke about something like this. I did interact with a man who I in fact think was a sex trafficker. I recounted this story to my mom and my stepdad after it happened. And my stepdad is like former military, former police. And after I told it to him, he immediately was like, make sure you change up your schedule for the next few weeks to make sure you're not being followed. Which like kind of scared me a little bit more, but I had already kind of had it in my head because like the experience, once you hear the story, like you'll realize it, like this man was like lying. So basically, this was my sophomore year of college. And I remember because I had red hair at the time and it was a little bit shorter than this. That's not that relevant. I don't know, I'm setting the scene. So I was coming from the dance studio. I'm a dance major at Kennesaw State University. I came to the student center and I just finished eating. There's like this arch that's in front of the student center and I'm like walking under it. And then I see this man coming at me and he's like wearing, I remember what he had on and everything, like literally like this was yesterday. He had on like this dark like charcoal gray suit and he had a briefcase and I think he had on glasses and he had a salt and pepper beard and he was like my height. So he's walking at me and I'm like, I mind my business. Like when I'm walking really fast. So he kind of just like walks up to me and I'm like looking like this because like I said, I just like don't really interact that much when I'm walking around. And he was like, first of all, I'm like looking a mess. I had on a black sweatshirt and some black sweat shorts. And he comes to me, he's like, wait, like what's your name? Like you're beautiful, you look amazing. And I don't take well to like drive by compliments all the time because they confuse me. Because I'm always like moving really fast and I'm not thinking that anybody can even really see me. When people do address me, it like catches me off guard for a second. Also, like I don't always respond well to like older men that I feel like I get a creepy vibe from, and that was him. So he was like, you're beautiful, blah, 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 like, rah. And I'm like, thanks. And then my body language, like if he's standing right here in front of me, my body is tilted this way because I don't want him to think that that I want to continue talking to him. And I'm ready to go. Like I'm impatient, I'm ready to go. And if I'm like smiling throughout this, like don't think it's because I'm not taking it seriously. I tend to just smile, I don't know. So after he says that, I'm like, thanks, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Then he just starts like asking me a bunch of questions about anything and everything. Like at first, it wasn't that threatening at first. It was more so like creepy because I was like, why is he like overzealous? Like he was so excited for some reason and I could not understand it. So he's like, what do you do? What are you here for? Like what's your classification? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
well, I'm a dance major / business major.
And like, yeah, like that's about it, blah, blah. And the whole time, I kid you not that I'm telling you this, he's looking me up and down in the most uncomfortable way. It literally looks like this. He's like, and then I'm really creeped out. And I feel like people might ask at this point, like, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you walk away? Honestly, it's like when you're in the moment, it doesn't like register that way and you don't think about it that way because I'm not thinking that somebody just randomly is like coming to me with like ill will. Like I'm just not thinking that way. That's a whole other story. I'm not about to get into the patriarchy right now, but yeah, I didn't think in the moment like about every single thing that I can think about now. Hindsight is 2020. So the whole time he's looking at me like that and he keeps saying, the compliments are weird. So it's not just like, you're beautiful, blah, blah. He keeps saying, you're like, yeah, people call people amazing, but not when they first meet them, I don't think. He's just like, wow, like, you're just amazing. You look great. You look great. And the whole time I'm just like, why is he like, what? Like, who is even saying that? It was stuff like, you're good. I'm like, what does that even mean? I tell him I'm a dance major. He's like, oh, really? Like, he's like, actually, and this is where the lies begin. And this is when I was like, this man has to go, like, next caller. He's like, oh, well, I'm actually on a meeting on the way to speak with Kevin Hart's people. I'm a screenwriter, blah, blah, blah. Now, when he first said it, my mind was like, you know what? This is Metro Atlanta. People film movies here. People do all kind of stuff here. And like, it's not so far off. But like, that was like a 1 second thought. And like the dancer in me was like, oh, you know what? Like, networking. But then that was also a 1 second thought because I'm not stupid. I'm saying that if you do fall victim to something like this, that you are, because these people prey on people who they think are vulnerable. but I'm not like that easily persuaded. So he said that and I was like, until this day, when I look back on it, I'm always like, Shari, why didn't you say, like, why didn't you just look him dead in his eye and be like, why are you lying? Like, open your briefcase. Show me what's in your briefcase. Like, I don't know why I didn't say that. But yeah, he's like, I'm a screenwriter, you know, I'm going to talk to Kevin Hart's people. I got this, I got that going on. Like, I could get your contact information. Basically trying to like, see if he could get me interested. Like, he was trying to sell me a dream. And if you know me personally, nobody can sell me a dream, okay? I'm a skeptic. So he's saying all that and I'm like,
yeah, really cool, yeah.
Like, and at this point, I'm more so confused than anything because I'm like, who is this man? Like, what is in his briefcase? So then he keeps like complimenting me and stuff to the point where it's really uncomfortable. I think he called me sexy at one point, which is like, that word sometimes make me want to gag. Like, do not first meet me and call me that ever. Like that, there's a line for me. So he's just like, man, this is the part that really threw me. And I'm like, now I know you're freaking lying. Like, if I didn't know before, I know it for sure right now. He's like, you look like Paula something. And oh, by the way, in the moment I didn't know, but I made a note to look it up later because I'm like, who is this lady that he's saying I look like? He's like, you look like Paula something. Do you know who that is? And that should have sparked something in my mind because he's probably wondering like if he can trick me. He's like, do you know who that is? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, she was Miss such and such, Miss Brazil, I think. And like, I'm not thinking really anything of that specifically because like, it's black people in Brazil. Like, most of Brazil is black. He's like, yeah, you just look just like her. Like, your hair, your blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So then the questions get like more and more personal. He starts asking me things like, do you have a car? Where do you live? And when he asked me where I lived, I think he saw me get defensive and almost like his body language started to change, like to make him seem less aggressive, but he still persisted. He's like, where do you live? Which, I'm sorry, but like, don't tell anyone where you live. He asked me that and I was like, that's a really personal question. Like, that's personal information. He's like, oh, no, I just didn't know if you were in the area because, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm doing this and you're dancing, da, da, da. And I'm like, that's personal. Like, I'm like, I live around. Back to the whole do you have a car thing. He's like, do you have a car? Like, do you have transportation? Do you have waiting? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, we need to fix that. And I'm thinking like, fix what? I feel like he thought that maybe I would be wowed by his credentials or by him saying that he's gonna buy me a car, but like, not impressed. He's probably looking for somebody more vulnerable, which is like so disgusting because like, I'm sorry, but like if you're preying on people's vulnerabilities, you're disgusting, but that's what they do in that industry. They prey on people. When he asked me about the car thing, I did tell him that I had a family that was, that like would work that out for me, that provides for me. But I think he like asked like, are you close with your family? Like, or does your family live around here? Yes, it was that. This happened like years ago, so there's some stuff that's like fuzzy about it. Also, it just seems like a freaking fever dream, so it's just like right over my head. Oh, you can't even see the sweat. Let's go. He was trying to see. I didn't initially bring it up, and that's when I did tell him like, yeah, I'm close to my family. Talk to my mom every day, blah, blah, blah. Like, they watch over me, like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So the conversation kind of ends like naturally. I guess like after he said all he could say and he realized that I wasn't the one, I walked to go to my bus stop, which is what I was trying to do in the first place. I don't like when people hold me up. Like, I was ready to go home. So I remember when I got to the bus stop, I had never felt so weird in my life. And immediately I looked up that Paula lady. I wish I could remember her last name, but y'all, this is what really confirmed it for me. I look up the lady, she looks like Eva Longoria. She looks like Eva Longoria, y'all. I'm not exaggerating. That is the closest person I could compare her to. And there's not even a lot of pictures of her. So I'm like, who is this? Like, what is this? And I'm like really confused. And then, yeah, I knew he was lying before, but that certainly confirmed it for me because I'm like, you made up something on the spot to try to like make me feel good. Like, I guess you thought it was gonna pull me in or something. You wanna know if I have family looking out for me? Like, you wanna know all these things. This is, I don't know, just at the end of it, I confirmed that I'm like, this is just not a normal encounter. And what was even scarier to me is afterwards, for some reason, I was like afraid to tell my parents for a little bit. I wanted them to know and I was gonna tell them, but I just felt really weird about it. He made me really uncomfortable. And I remember I took like some Snapchat stories of this because I was like, I have to document this. I can never like forget this. Like, this is important. And I don't know where they are because I don't think I archived them. And I went to my Instagram archives because I was like, oh, I did Instagram story, but I wasn't even using Instagram story at that point. So I would have inserted that. I would have loved to have inserted those videos. Y'all could have seen me with my red hair. I remember feeling sad about it. And that really caught me off guard because I didn't, like, why would I think that that was gonna make me feel sad? But when I told my mom, I was like, Mom, this is like, for some reason I feel kind of sad about this. And she was like, well, you probably just like feel violated. And I guess I didn't think of it in that way because he never like touched me or anything. He didn't like try to grab me, but the way that he was questioning me and the things that he wanted to know and the way he was looking at me and the way he was saying things like, not like, oh, you look beautiful, but like, you're amazing. Like you're good. You're just great. Like, and I hope like this doesn't come off as me just like thinking something that wasn't actually there. But if you would have heard his tone of voice and seen his face and like felt like his energy and like his whole demeanor, then I feel like you guys will understand what I'm saying. First of all, my heart goes out to anybody who's ever had to like fall victim to anything like this, because luckily, like, I got out of the situation. Luckily, he aborted mission and he didn't try anything else after that. I never saw this man again. I don't even know why he was on campus. For anybody who's like actually really been affected by this, I can't even imagine like what you're going through or what your family is like went through or have gone through. Oh, and also just more on why I didn't walk away. Honestly, it's like you know how people say like it's like watching a train wreck, it's like you can't look away. It was almost like that kind of thing. And it's like while I was in it, I just didn't get it in that way. I didn't know. And it wasn't until afterwards when I left and I looked at the lady and I thought more and more deep into it, and I talked to more people about it. And I remember it was as I was talking to people about it, people were like, Shari, like that's weird, like that's not normal. I already felt fishy about it, but people were like, I hate to even say be vigilant, but it's like we have to, like, sadly enough, no person should ever have to feel like they have to protect themselves for other people, because the bottom line is like it's just never going to be the victim's fault for being a victim. But just like look out for signs. If anybody's questioning you to that degree, be wary of them. Trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, don't ever worry about being nice. Like, your safety is more important. If something don't feel right, walk away. But anyways, like this video if you want to, share this video if you want to, subscribe to me if you want to, comment things that you want to see for fun, for not fun. I put out new videos on Friday, so I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.